Okay, so we are now live. Okay, so hi guys, do you hear me very clear? So, okay, so this is Kherk Roldan. My name is Craig Roldan, and welcome to this podcast. Today we have our all privilege to have Craig Campbell with us. So yes, the popular Craig Campbell. So one of the best SEO strategies we look up to when it comes to digital marketing. So welcome to my podcast, Craig. So how we doing?
All good, all good. It's early on a Saturday morning here in the UK, but yeah, all good, fresh. So yeah, looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
Yes, thank you too. So thank you so much for having time for this interview. I appreciate it. All the viewers appreciate it. It is a pleasure and an honor to be speaking with you. So before we start with our interview, and for those who don't know Craig yet, let me just give you all a little bit of background about Craig. So he is a Glasgow, United Kingdom based SEO expert who has been doing SEO for 18 years now. And at just 23 years old, Craig Campbell started the process of turning his intrigue and passion for the budding SEO industry. So, guys, did you know that our tonight guest is an actor? And he appeared in The Rain Has Stopped in 2009, playing a big part in the film. And it was Craig's first appearance in a movie and was filmed over a 6 months period. And also, I watched that movie, Craig, and I really like it too. And you know what, guys? During the lockdown and COVID pandemic period, he increases his followers to 45,200 subscribers on his YouTube channel. And as he provided free courses, work, and a lot of tutorials for free, guys, for free. And he is also a digital marketing speaker and enjoyed speaking at conferences and events in one of is Xiangmei SEO. Is that right, Greg?
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
On SEO, search leads, and NFG Rockstars, and more. So, okay, so without further ado, let's get started with with my first question. So, can you please tell us how you started with your SEO journey, Craig?
So I first started. I had crap jobs. I worked in a call center. I've worked in shops. I've done all this other bullshit work, and hated it. I left school. I didn't have any real qualifications. I didn't know what I wanted to do, and I was lucky enough that SEO was starting to become a thing. And I was in a sales job, and it was a quiet place that I worked in. I was just playing around with the website and stuff like that, trying to learn web design. But I was really bad at web design, if I'm being honest, really bad. So I kind of, couldn't pursue that career much further, but, shoveled over into SEO and started to learn SEO on forums and stuff like that. There wasn't YouTube, Facebook, or anything like that out there. There wasn't groups or a wealth of information. So for me to learn SEO, it was either reading a book or playing around in a forum and listening to what the top guys at that point were saying. And I probably spent 5 years of my life just messing around, not really understanding what SEO was. I tried different stuff that didn't work. And then I started to develop the, the knowledge that people don't always tell the truth. Because I was quite a young guy and I just believed everyone, and then started to ask myself questions and be like, this just doesn't sound quite right. So I just started testing stuff and things went on. And but yeah, it all started from there. I was in dead-end jobs looking for a way out, and I was lucky enough that SEO was in its infancy. I love the internet because I'm 40, but when I was a kid growing up, we didn't have mobile phones and we didn't have the internet. So when the internet came out, when I was like 17 or 18, I became very quickly obsessed with this new thing called the internet anyway. And because of that, I was always trying to look for a way to spending more time online. And and I'm still here today. So I've done something right.
Wow. Yeah, thank you so much for that, Craig. You mentioned you have 17 staff working for you in Glasgow. So I just want to ask, because I'm very curious, how you properly manage your agency.
So in terms of 17 staff, I don't have 17 staff anymore. I have 6 staff in the office. Previously, when I had an agency, I had 17 staff. And I didn't manage the staff that well. That was the problem with the agency that I run. I didn't have enough time to manage the staff, run the business, and do the SEO. And I would say that's a potential failure when it comes to SEO. That was a big mistake that I had. And anytime I speak now, I'm telling people, manage your staff, train your staff, give them processes, all of that stuff, because I didn't. But because I didn't do it doesn't mean I was doing the right thing. My agency done reasonably well, but it wasn't a well-run operation. If I could turn the clock back, I would do everything differently. And so in terms of staff management, I don't want to sit here saying I was the best at it and I've done this and I've done that and I've done that, because I didn't. And what you need to do in order to manage teams of staff, regardless of whether it's 5, 10 or 50, you have to have the right processes in place for these staff to do the job. The processes are the key to the whole thing. You give someone a good process, they follow those steps, and that's it, job done. Someone's obviously got to be quality checking what they're doing. So there's also got to be a person or a process for that to happen. But it's all about processes and SOPs. And that is something I didn't sadly have. I was just fucking around and doing everything the old-fashioned way. Everything was stored in my brains. I was in the middle of it all, and it was just an absolute mess. And that was a recipe for a heart attack or something like that, because of the stress was so high. So don't do it my way.
Yes, so you're everywhere as well. And yeah, I really like how you compete with Christopher Palmer regarding the CTR or click-through rate manipulation. So can you please tell us more how we can improve it for our website?
So anyone will understand if you send traffic or engagement to a website, it will move the rankings, whether it's your GMB, whether it's your YouTube video, or whether it's a page in your website. Now, I've tried over the last year, every bot there is out there. Bots don't work that well. What you need to do is send real traffic, real people to the website, the video, or whatever you're trying to rank well. And that is where I have now got a formula that works well for me, and that's Facebook ads, micro workers, and any other form of traffic that you can get at a low cost. And at the end of the day, we want to try and keep costs down, and that's why, as I say, I suggest Facebook and maybe target the Indian audience, for people in the Western side of the world, because it's a lot cheaper than it would be to target, Americans or people even in the UK. So it's sending real people to the website to get those engagement signals and that traffic on your pages, and it works very, very well. So it's as simple as that. There's no rocket science behind it. Send real traffic to your website that's going to obviously send traffic that's relevant. You don't want anyone hitting on it, so you've got to have people that are interested in SEO or whatever if you're sending it to your video. But what you don't want to do is just send any old traffic. That's where people say, oh, this shit doesn't work. It's got to be kind of targeted. but you can think outside the box and maybe send Indians or Philippines or Thailand or anywhere else in the world that's low cost traffic. You can send that. So that is something I would always recommend, is make sure it's real traffic. That's the key.
Wow. So I was blown away with our discussion right now, Craig. So actually, I'm also writing down those tips that you said in regards to click-through rate as well. So yes, can you please tell us more? Oh, hold on. Someone asking for a question here. So okay, so okay, so checking it now. Okay, so one of the question, this is one of my students. So he asked, what are your best on-page SEO techniques, Craig?
I mean, there's nothing I can tell you that you don't already know. Using, I've got a process for on page. So what I'll do is I'll use something like the SEMrush SEO content template, or I'll use POP or Surfer, one of those, and I'll analyze the top 10 search results for a search term. That then gives me an idea of whether I need to write 500 words, 1,000 words, 2,000 words. And at that point, it will also tell me that there may be 3 or 4 header tags on there. There may be this or that. So I'm going to optimize my content in the same way that the competition are optimizing theirs. Because why do we look at the top 10 search results? We look at that because that's at the moment what Google currently loves. So you can use these tools to identify what you need to do, rather than just putting a bit of content out there and hoping for the best. Have some kind of structure, and it will tell you, you're going to need 1,000 words for this particular search term. Now, what I do is then put that up. I will see where it ranks, and then still fine tune it. And I don't just follow the tool blindly. I think, adding stuff in yourself, adding whatever you feel works best, tweak it around. For me, it's all about putting it out there, adding your internal links, making sure that you're powering up, other relevant pages where possible on your website. Obviously, the page has got to load fast. That goes without saying. But make sure that you match. A lot of people don't match the user intent. They just go off looking for something for that particular search term. Make sure that content is specifically about that search term and nothing else. Don't fuck around and, start waffling about other stuff that's not that relevant. Try and keep your pages super relevant and match the user intent. Now, people say, what does that even mean? What's user intent? Now, if I'm going to do something like buy links or something, as a search term, then I want to make sure that content is about buying links and offers value, and also has the commercial intent of selling that person a link as well. There's no point in me talking about buying links and then going on to talk about I also do a bit of CTR and I do free courses. That's not relevant. So I think people get lost, and it's because they overcomplicate it. They don't do the simple things properly. So, in terms of content, you've got tools there to help you optimize your content. You don't need me to tell you that there's something special that also goes on, because there's nothing special. Optimize your content and do the basics right. It will take you so far.
Yes. So yeah, guys. So make sure also you publish high quality content for your website, and make sure to add original content as well for your articles in text, images, or in video. And also, it's very important to add content that is useful, as what Craig said right now. So guys, if you have more questions, you can just ask here because we are live. Thank you for 1,997 people who are watching now. So, Craig, what are your top technical SEO to do in 2020 or in the coming year?
Again, there's nothing groundbreaking I can tell you. You know, you've got to make sure, that your website's fast. You know, that's the first thing. You know, a good internal linking structure. Don't, you know, regularly. I would always say regularly audit your website. Make sure that you're not serving 404 pages and all this stupid stuff. Make sure you've got a good, solid internal linking structure.
Yes.
You know, in terms of other technical stuff, add schema. You know, I think adding schema where relevant is also something that allows you to, you know, get feature snippets and drive a whole lot more traffic, which in turn manipulates that click-through rate and engagement. So, you know, I think schema is something I've been quite lazy with, to be honest, and something that I'm starting to implement now. And you know, it's just because it's a pain in the backside to do. You know, manually adding schema, who the hell wants to do that crap? But if you do it and you're grabbing all these kind of featured snippets and whatnot, and you know, then at that point you're getting more click-through rate and engagement, so you don't have to worry about going to pay for that traffic and engagement. You're getting the extra traffic because you're implementing some technical stuff, which is schema, onto your website. And you know, out with adding your content, there's not much else you can do to a website from a technical point of view. You know, you've got to keep it simple, and a lot of people are not doing the basics properly. That is the problem. So people say, well, I've added content, so that's me done. Like, go add schema, make sure it's fast, make sure that, you know, you've got the right calls to action, make sure you regularly audit your website, make sure that Google can crawl and index all of your money pages. Now, if you've got a big website or you've bought a website or whatever, do also check that people have not been blocking certain areas of the website from being crawled or indexed. You know, that happens regularly on e-commerce websites and stuff like that. You know, you've got crawl budget and you know, people try to play around with that type of thing. Again, keep it simple, let Google crawl what they need to crawl. Obviously, if you've got product variations or something else, filter those out. You don't want that stuff being crawled and indexed. But other than that, you know, there's nothing, again, groundbreaking that I can tell you. For me, a lot of people come back saying, SEO doesn't work. And you look at their website, their website's full of duplicate content. It doesn't have an internal link. You know, and they say, I've tried everything you said, Craig, so what do I do next? And for me, the problem with everything is people are just missing a lot of those core basics, or they're focusing on something that's not there. And that is the problem. People are looking for me or you or someone else to give them a special trick. There is no special trick. That's the worst thing. There is no special button that we press to rank a website. You've just got to put in a bit of hard work and graft, and that's it.
Yes, absolutely, you are correct. So schema, guys, are very important as well. So your website speed, faster is better as well, and you need to have your mobile friendliness as well for your website. And Craig, you mentioned during the website auditing, what's the importance of regular auditing your website?
I mean, regularly auditing your website will highlight any issues. Now, for most website owners, including myself, I'm not the only guy that works in my website. You know, other people are working on it. I've got content writers, I've got staff who go in there and add stuff for me. And sometimes people just forget things. They forget to click something, they forget to do a redirect, whatever it might be. And websites is something that's constantly changing. Now, if you don't do good housekeeping, like auditing your website once a month or once a quarter or whatever, it's the same equivalent of not cleaning your house. You know, if you don't clean your house, it's going to get filthy and things are going to start to break and stuff like that. Clean your website is just general housekeeping. Fix any kind of broken links, fix anything that that falls off, or someone forgets to do a 301 redirect or whatever it might be, do that. Because if your door handle was falling off your door, you're going to get the joiner to come and put a new handle on. You've got a guy who cleans your windows, you've got a guy who maybe hoovers your car or whatever. So you will go to that length to clean your house.
Okay.
But you do not bother your backside with your website. So that's, when your website is your main income. So treat it like it deserves to be treated, not like something that you just leave derelict, lying there for years on end, and you don't update it, you don't clean it, you don't, even things like every time you add a blog post to your website or you do it, WordPress is saving a revision every time. So your back end of your WordPress is bloating away out every time you add content. Do people ever really clean that stuff up? No, they don't. There's plugins that can help you do that, like WP Rocket or whatever, but it's just general housekeeping. And as I say, it's like the equivalent of getting into a house and someone just doesn't empty the rubbish and they just pile all the shit up in the house. One day someone's going to come in and say, what's going on in here? This is a mess. This is garbage. That's your house. You have to treat your website like you would treat a house. That's my opinion.
Yes, so I agree with that one, Craig. So Rahesh has a question here. So I want to know, what are the on-page SEO tactics or steps for a website? So that's what he said.
I mean, the biggest thing you can do off-site is build links. Link building is a big topic now. Obviously, I could spend 5 hours talking about link building strategies and stuff like that. Now, the two main concepts of SEO is your content, and then you've got your link building. These are the two biggest ranking factors, if you ask me. Now, link building can be anything from citations, if you want to boost your GMB listing. It can be on directories and various things like that. But you've then got guest posts, you've got people who use PBNs, you've got people who use expired domains, you've got outreach, you've got all sorts of weird and wonderful tactics, and these tactics really depend on the niche that you're in. Now, if you're a plumber in, somewhere in the Philippines or something like that, I'm going to assume that it's not that competitive, because it's competitive in the Western world anyway. Now, if you were in gambling or a casino, you're going to have to up your game and use more aggressive tactics. So what are the off-page tactics? It's link building. How much link building, how you do that link building, whether you build a tiered link building structure or whatever, really depends on the niche that you're in. So I can't tell you specifically what is good for you. I know that a link is a link, and link building is very, very important from an SEO point of view. And there's so many guises to link building, whether you automate some of the tiered link building process, to buying guest posts from different suppliers, to doing outreach yourself. It really comes down to you. But what you need is good quality, high authority links from relevant websites that actually send traffic to your website as well. How you do that, whether you take the guy out on a date and ply him with bottles of wine to convince him to get you that link, or whether you pay for it, or whether I don't know, that is the, how do we do this properly? You need to convince the other guy to give you a link. Most people are convinced by money. Some people, get convinced in other ways. Take them out for a steak, take them out for a beer, just ask them politely. Some people may help you. So you have to focus on that.
All right. So thank you for that. Yeah, actually you are correct, because links are still backbone of organic search, and therefore it still plays a massively important role. And earning links from credible sources or resources remains one of the most influential factor to foster a strong organic search performance. So right now we have a question here. Do you still do directory listing for local? Is this gonna make a difference for a newbie in SEO?
Yes, I want to make it clear, I do directory listings for the Google Map listing, not for anything else. Now, when it comes to local SEO and the Google Map listing, it's a different algorithm. They're looking for something different. They're not looking for links and content. You don't even need a website to rank a map listing. So, in terms of a map listing, what Google are looking for is consistencies of your name, address, and postcode of your business. And putting these on powerful directories is the way to help your local map ranking rank well. So that will make a massive difference. The question you're asking here, is that going to make a difference? There's a lot of traffic that goes through those Google Maps, and you doing those directory listings is certainly going to help you beat the competition. So yes, it will help you. But bear in mind that the same method doesn't work for organic search. It's a different game altogether. So building crappy directory listings to your web page, if you want to rank organically, is the worst form of link building. It is the lowest of the low and really not going to rank you. So I just want to make that part clear that there is a benefit if it's used properly towards your GMB.
All right. So wow, guys, I'm blown away with all the answers that Craig provided to us. So Craig, you mentioned link building and content is important for you in off-page SEO. So how you set up link building outreach campaign? What tools do you use?
So, I mean, you've got to use something like SEMrush, Ahrefs. You've got to analyze the competition. Now, the easiest way of building links is to look at the competition, see what they've got, and try and replicate that. Now, if I see you and you're ranking alongside me and you rank really well and all that stuff, I'm going to see what you're doing, and I'm going to see if you've got a link from SEMrush, wherever, Search Engine Journal, any of these things. And I've got to try, that's the bar that I've got to try and beat. So I can then figure out how I'm going to get a link from SEMrush or the Search Engine Journal or whatever it may be. Now, it's not a case of reaching out to SEMrush and saying, can I have a link? They'll tell you where to go. Now, you've got to think outside the box. And I know you've done this, actually. You've reached out to SEMrush. You want to appear in a webinar. And that is potentially going to get you a link. Now, I'm not saying you're doing that just to get a link. You're doing that because maybe you want exposure, you want to be involved with SEMrush, whatever. So don't always think that links come from just asking for a link. I've spoken at a lot of conferences, so I'm going to get a lot of different links from different websites. I do a lot of webinars. I post a lot of videos. That all constitutes as link building as well. It's not a case of looking at someone and saying, right, they've got a SEMrush link, let's go out and buy one now. It doesn't work like that. So there's going to be certain links when you analyze the competition that you just simply can't get unless you go on a webinar or, do whatever. But you've got to cherry pick the best that you can get and try and reach out. You can use Mailshake to reach out to people. You can use a number of other tools, including Pitchbox, which is the creme de la creme of outreach tools. So Pitchbox can do a lot of stuff for you. But you've got to analyze first, and that's where you would use SEMrush or Ahrefs. Identify the websites that you want links on. You're going to have to reach out to them. Now, people might not reply to you. That's just part of the game. People may say, nah, I'm not giving you a link, but if you want to write a blog post, I might give you a link. You start negotiating. But don't think that's all there is to it. There's guys out there who do outreach on a daily basis. You can simply go and buy links. So there's guys out there who have got massive lists of websites who do outreach all day, every day. And you can simply reach out to them and say, listen, that guy's got this, that, the next thing. Do you sell that stuff? Can I buy some? How much is it going to cost? And you can just pay for that to happen. Now, people say, don't buy links, it's bad. Google doesn't know whether I pay this guy or that guy for a link. Now, there's a guy out there who builds websites, for example. He's a web designer. Now, everyone outsources their work to web designers. They can't be bothered doing that part. It's too hard or too difficult or they don't have time. It's the same with links. Go out and buy links. Use a guy who does link building all day, every day, who's got all the tools, who does all the analysis, who has all the contacts, and things just happen a lot quicker. Now, the reason I'm telling you this is, if I was to advise you to go set up a Mailshake campaign and reach out to everyone who links to Matt Diggity, for example, you may get 2 replies. Now, you may have spent 50 hours of your time setting that whole thing up. Now, what better use of your time spending that 50 hours to get 2 links, or just paying someone a couple of $100 to do the same thing? You need to also remember your time is valuable to your business, and sometimes things are best being outsourced. So you can outsource your link building as well. But as I say, if you want to do it yourself, if you are a newbie, analyze first using SEMrush or Ahrefs, then outreach or figure out or use common sense to say, how does this guy get this? You know, if you go to Shanghai SEO and you see that I've got a link from that, it's because I spoke there, not because Matt Diggity hands out links every time someone reaches out to him. It's because I spoke there and I spent the time traveling to Thailand. I deserve that link. You don't, because you didn't go there. So if you want that link, you're going to have to get your ass up and go and speak at Shanghai. So as I say, analyze the competition, but also bear in mind, use common sense to identify how did he get that? What did he do to achieve that link? It's not always just a link exchange. But doing outreach or buying guest posts is certainly a good place to start. And I'm not sure who the best vendor is in the Philippines, but I'm sure there'll be guys out there who sell guest posts on a regular basis. It might even be you. So, I don't know. But yeah, but that's a good place to start.
Yes, thank you for that, Craig. Okay, guys. So you need to analyze your competitors in SEMrush first, and then you can use Ninja Outreach for finding opportunities. And also, if you have a budget, you can use Pitchbox. And personally, I use Hunter.io to get email address. So one of the question here, should we add website name in our post title?
No. Why would you? A post is about a specific subject. So my next blog post might be about CTR manipulation. Why would I mention my website name there? It's not relevant. My homepage targets my website name or my name. I don't need to repeat that process in every page and post on my website. So absolutely no.
All right. Okay, Craig. So what you're working on at the moment, right?
So I just do affiliate marketing and I buy and sell different websites. Now people say, what kind of websites do you buy? It really doesn't matter. When I buy a website, what I'm looking for is someone who's shit at SEO, who's taking the website as far as they can take it, and then I will add my own mix to it and then flip the website on at a profit. So normally looking for someone naive or just really good at content, and I'll step in, add links to the mix, and then flip the website on for 5 times the money that I paid for it. It's as simple as that. And you know, I'm looking for opportunities like that, whether it's, you know, e-commerce, SaaS, it really doesn't matter. I invest a lot in websites, and buying and selling websites, and that's something that I find quite easy to do. It stops me from working for clients because I feel that with the experience I've got in the industry, why do I need to work for clients? I don't. Like, I can just identify opportunities, invest money in something, and make double, treble the money just by adding my own process and my own strategies to the mix. And for me, that is something that I'm big into just now. So it's more about making any money that I've made work for me. So it's just all about investments and doing affiliate marketing. Everyone has different angles that they have, whether it be doing client work, whether it be doing whatever. Nothing at all wrong with doing them. I just don't feel that at this stage in my career, that dealing with clients who don't understand SEO is the best use of my time. You know, I find it quite stressful, talking to clients who, you know, don't want to give me any money. They don't want to spend the right budget. They don't want to do this and that. So, you know, for me, again, I do a lot of training courses as well, consultancy. So again, if someone doesn't want me to do the job, or they don't believe I can do the job, then I can consult them. And, you know, if they feel they're better at it, then I can consult them on that. And they might be better at it. I'm not saying that, you know, I'm the best in the world and whatnot. You know, you can consult people and you know, work that way. So, or train them or whatever. So whatever suits the client, basically. I can still work with clients on that level. But what I can't do is take someone's crappy little budget that just doesn't allow me to compete and make it compete. You know, it's impossible. If a guy gives me $200 to do something that costs £2,000, I'm going to massively fail the same way as everyone else. There's just not enough money to buy content or links. So it's you know, and there's no point in doing that. And yeah, it's, you know, there is no special button here. So that's why I've always tried to steer away from clients in the recent years, because 9 out of 10 clients are not spending the right budget. You know, there's so many SEOs out there underselling stuff, you know, saying they'll do SEO for $200 a month. Like, what the fuck can you really do for $200 a month? Like, you know, you'll be lucky to be able to buy the content you need for the month for that. You know, even from someone, before you run through POP or Grammarly, you can't even afford those tools at those rates. So, you know, you're just going to get a pile of dog shit for $200. And that's the truth of the matter. There's just a lot of dog shit SEOs selling shit SEO, and I don't want any part of it. So, yeah, if people are wise enough to come to me and say, Craig, fuck, I've been robbed blind off of this guy, that guy, can you show me what actually works? It's at that point I'll step in and potentially train them or help them or consult them, because some clients will just never listen.
Yeah, you are right with that. So actually, yesterday I saw some comment, or I saw some post in regards to $50 $50 rate per month, asking for SEO work, and I said, what the fuck? Why $50? I guess he's an Indian person, so yeah. Okay, so let's move on. One question here, Craig. So, is it possible to rank a website without paying expensive tools like SEMrush or Ahrefs?
Yes, it is, if you know what you're looking for. Now, you can simply Google something, any search term, and you can see the title tags that your competition are using. That's a great place to start. You don't need these tools, but it's what these tools also do when it comes to auditing a website. Now, you can do everything manually. These tools just allow you to do things faster, quicker, and stuff like that. Plus, you know, it gives you an indicator in terms of the search volume that a particular keyword's got. So You can rank a website if you use common sense and you don't use the tools. You can just use common sense approach to keywords, go after the keywords that people are using. You would have to manually check your website or use a free tool like Screaming Frog to audit it, make sure you've got nothing broken. So yes, the answer is yes and no, but what I'd say to anyone is, do you really, for $99 for SEMrush or whatever, do you really want to be doing all the work manually? Like auditing a website or doing keyword research or competitor analysis or backlink analysis or any of that stuff. You can reverse engineer everything manually. This stuff's all scraped from Google and put into a nice dashboard for you. So you can potentially do it on the cheap. But for what these tools cost, I think, again, you've got to value your time. You spending 10 hours manually researching the competition or spending 10 seconds pushing a button in SEMrush, what's the best use of your time? Is that time worth $99? And, you might spend another 10 hours researching another competitor and another competitor. And at that point, if you calculate your time against what SEMrush costs you, SEMrush is not actually expensive at that point. So, but yeah, if you don't have the budget at the start or whatever, there are free tools out there that you can look at. Auditing tools like Screaming Frog allows you to do up to 500 URLs. There are cheaper keyword research tools. There are cheaper ranking trackers. There's cheaper everything. What people fail to forget is the likes of SEMrush or Ahrefs have 40 plus tools within them. People are only using a small part of SEMrush and saying it's not worth the money. But you can schedule your social media posts from SEMrush. You can do site audits. You can do disavows. You can do all sorts of stuff, backlink gap analysis, keyword gap analysis, comparing it to the top 5 competitors. And, it gives you a list of keywords that you don't have that these guys do. Try and not think like that. Try and get some form of tool to do the research for you, because and as I say, I don't care whether it's SEMrush or Ahrefs. They're just my tools of choice. They're the industry standard tools. But there are free tools out there that also can give you some data. So, and I've been there. I've also been there where I've not had big budget, and had to scrimp and scrape and try and use one tool and all that stuff. So don't feel the peer pressure to have to get all of these tools to do your research. You can do it all manually.
All right. Yeah. So a lot of people here, Craig, and in my groups are in the e-commerce industry. Can you provide us expert advice to get organic traffic for our website?
In the e-commerce industry?
Yes.
I mean, whether you're in e-commerce or whether you're an Amazon affiliate marketer, the methods don't change. It's content and links and optimizing stuff. So whether you're in e-commerce, the only thing that really changes in e-commerce is that you potentially run into more problems because you've got a product page, for example, and you might not want to put hundreds of text on it. But you can go after long tail keywords with your product pages. You can create landing pages for the more competitive keywords. It's just about getting the right structure right for e-commerce, because I get it, on e-commerce websites, guys who sell product don't want 600 words of content on there. So you have to work around that and create a landing page. You've got to create a structure on that website that works both for you and for Google. And you can't take that away. Content, links, structure, internal linking, all of the stuff that we're spoken about today all goes into an e-commerce website as well. As I say, the only thing I would probably highlight is you need to be more technical when it comes to an e-commerce website. You also need to be aware that if, for example, you're selling black shoes and they come in a size 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, you don't need the 5, the 6, the 7, the 8, the 9, and the 10 product variations being crawled and indexed by Google. So you want to make sure that you're filtering all of that stuff out. You just need the black shoes to be crawled and indexed. Any of the other variations is going to add another part to your URL, and you don't need that stuff to be crawled and indexed. And 9 times out of 10, when I look at an e-commerce website, that stuff is being crawled and indexed. Now, Google has a thing called a crawl budget. Now, let's just hypothetically say that it's 1,000 pages. Now, I know there's websites out there that have got hundreds of thousands of pages indexed. This is just an example. But hypothetically, say you've got 1,000 pages in your website or 1,000 URLs. Google might only give you a crawl budget for 70% of those pages. So 700 pages or URLs can potentially get crawled and indexed. Now, bear in mind, when you add to a website an image, it creates a URL. Bear in mind, when you add a product, it adds an extra URL. Any variation, any search filter, anything like that adds another URL. Now, if Google is only going to crawl and index 700 of those, and you've got a clunky website, and it's crawling and indexing all your images, but not your products because it's ran out of crawl budget, you've got a problem. So you want to make sure that your crawl budget or Google is crawling and indexing the pages and the product pages on your website, because if you're allowing it to catch all those other kind of search filters and everything else, then those might be getting indexed and your main money page is not. So you need to make sure that you bear the crawl budget in mind, keep your eye on Search Console, see what is getting into the index, and work around that. And obviously you can stop certain pages getting crawled and indexed. And that is probably the key one tip I can give you for an e-commerce website, is just think of it like that. Do I want all of those search URLs being crawled and indexed, or do I want my money pages being crawled and indexed? And very often you will find that e-commerce websites, some of the money pages are not being crawled and indexed. And whether that's down to crawl budget or whether it's down to poor internal linking, it could be a catalogue of different things, but you need to make sure that those pages are being crawled and indexed. And secondly, when you do e-commerce, you're going to get product descriptions from a supplier, most likely. Unique content is key. Content is king, as many people have said for many years. Make sure that you rewrite those product descriptions, because they ain't going to get crawled and indexed if you've got a supplier's list uploaded on there through a CSV file. That's another failure, massive failure that I see happen all the time.
All right. Yeah, so to all my students out there, guys, are you taking note? Okay, so one last question, Craig. So advice for people who want to start an online business.
Advice for people who want to start an online business. I would do research on the industry you're in. Now, I've failed with many businesses, and I'll give you some examples. I once dived into the Amazon affiliate niche and bought a website where the average product value was about £20. Now, my process was to outsource the content and outsource the link building. Amazon commissions are now at 3%. I think they were at 6% when I bought the website. If you're going to dive into affiliate, make sure you don't get an average product value of £20. Okay. Make sure you're going for something that's worth £100 or more. Look for a high-ticket item, because it costs you the same money for the content and the links. So it doesn't matter whether you're selling a £20 T-shirt or a £200 T-shirt. go after the £200 t-shirt, because for that to be worth your while and for you to get any kind of money, you have to be looking at high ticket items. Look at that. But also in the past, I set up a business in the e-cigarette niche. Now, I very quickly done keyword research and saw that there was hundreds of thousands of people looking for e-cigarettes. So I thought, oh, this is going to be my niche. Now, went away, got a website built, started doing SEO. The orders started coming in. So that's when I start to take a business seriously, when the orders start coming. We then looked at taking payments for those orders, and we found out that PayPal were the only people that would allow us to take payments, because e-cigs, nicotine, and all that our government do not want us taking payment for that stuff. I also found out that you couldn't run Facebook ads or Google ads in the e-cigarette niche. And I found it very hard to get the business off the ground, because there were so many restrictions when it came to payment and obviously online advertising. Now, for me to start a good SEO campaign, I've got to get traffic and clicks onto that website. I needed Facebook ads, I needed Google ads to aid me to grow that business and scale the business. And I wasn't able to do it. So I threw the whole thing in the bin. Now, the lesson to be learned here is understand the whole business model before you dive in and do SEO and build a website. Because if you're going to be like me, who doesn't think about those things and jumps in 2 feet first and then figures that shit out, then you're going to lose a lot of money and a lot of time that you'll never be able to get back. So that's some mistakes that I've made when starting online businesses. I've just not done the research properly, didn't understand, not necessarily the SEO side of it. Of course, I understand the SEO side of business, but understand the logistics and all the other stuff of the business before you make a decision to spend a lot of time, money, and effort into diving into that niche. Because essentially I lost, thousands and thousands of pounds worth of time and effort by not just sitting down for 10 minutes and saying, right, how do we take payments? Can we do this? Can we do that? Is there any red tape, any legal issues? Is there anything like that? So do your full research before you do it. Now, what I'd say to anyone is you can pretty much make a business out of anything you want online. There's guys selling CBD oil, there's guys selling tables, there's guys selling gadgets, there's guys selling cakes. I mean, you literally can pick anything you want in the world from it, literally anything. And that includes drugs or anything. People are, you can literally pick any business you want, but look into the legality side of it, and look into everything else. Are you able to get lots of stock for that particular product? Is it going to be ongoing? All of these things, because again, years ago I dived into Segway hoverboards niche. So I don't know if you guys know what they are, but the thing you stand on with the two wheels. It was a big thing about 5 years ago. We called it a Segway hoverboard. I don't know what you guys call it, but it was a thing that was out for like one Christmas. Now, basically, I made a website up for it and then found out that we couldn't get any stock of that particular product because everyone went crazy for it. So avoid those items or products that are like fads, if you like, a thing for Christmas or whatever, because I couldn't get stock for that. You could not, no matter where you went in the world, China or anything, no one was making this stuff. Everyone was sold out. So again, I wasted a lot of time and money on something that was absolute garbage. So yeah, just bear those things in mind and don't make the same mistakes that I've made, because that's what it's all about, trying to help you guys avoid the mistakes that I've made.
Yeah, so you guys, before you start, doing online business, you need to understand the business first, and as well as the SEO, and have a business model before you jump in. And before we end, what is the best way to reach out to you, Craig? How can our viewers connect with you?
The best way is probably through my website, which is craigcampbellseo.com. You've got links to my YouTube, my Facebook, and all that on there. So from the website, you'll be able to find me on there. But I'm trying to promote my YouTube channel. So if you go to YouTube as well and you search for Craig Campbell SEO, make sure that you give me a subscribe and a like. There's a lot of different videos on a lot of different stuff on my YouTube channel. So if anyone's looking to learn anything, go there as well.
All right. So, Craig, thank you so much for being on the show. I really appreciate it. And of course, for sharing your time with us. A lot of information and a lot of things to learn. We really love it. So, guys, I hope you had a great time with Craig. That was a great and very informative interview, right? So, and I'm hoping you'll enjoy it and highly recommend you follow Craig website. So I added it below in the video and our YouTube channel for more updates and free marketing tips. You can go to YouTube Craig Campbell SEO, so you can type it. And also don't forget to subscribe to my channel for more interviews and free SEO tips for yours truly. So goodbye and all right. Have a great weekend, Craig. Take care and God
Cheers.
bless. Have a good
Cheers.